Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I would say welcome back, but this is probably going to be the second video I upload. My name is Canton Little and I am a university student studying philosophy. I'm in my final year. I am a bookworm, a bibliophile, someone who likes to read the classics. I like to read philosophy. I like anime, and that's just kind of about me briefly. So today we're going to be reviewing the first volume of the Berserk of Gluttony light novel series. Now, a brief caveat before we get started into this review. I am not a light novel person. I generally do not read light novels. It's not my strong medium. So take it with a grain of salt from someone who's a beginner, though that might offer some insight into it. This series is actually being animated, and the anime is supposed to come out sometime by the end of this year. And I very much enjoyed it, and I look forward to really exploring light novels as another medium of fiction, and hopefully you guys can leave some recommendations in the comments below. So before I get started with my opinion on it as someone who generally reads things that are not light novel, a brief history of Berserk of Gluttony is that it's written by Isshiki Ichika, or Ichika Ishiki. I couldn't really find much information about that author on the internet, other than, maybe his Airship or Seven Seas profile. Airship is a subdivision of Seven Seas, I believe. In Japanese, it's Boshoku no Berserku. I'm not going to attempt to read the rest of that. My Japanese is not the best, and, I'm just going to save myself from embarrassment. So a little bit of history with respect to this is that it was originally written on a self-publishing website called Shousetsuku ni Naru, or Naru. And the final chapter was, I believe, 218 is what it said on the wiki. I don't know how many chapters are actually going to be, or how many volumes of this there are going to be, because this book is still in print as of right now. I am about to finish volume 2, and it's really good. So far there are 8 volumes of the light novels, and there are 10 manga volumes, so there's no clue how many there might be. There might be 12, there might be 20. I don't think it'll be 50. Considering not very many light novels have 50 volumes, according to what I saw at the bookstore. This was originally published, not the English, but the Japanese translation was originally published in January 2017, and the first volume of this came into translation in English in October of 2020, digitally and in print in January 21. So without further ado, let's get into the book itself. Now, the book itself is dark fantasy being, well, different from your typical fantasy. Dark fantasy is a bit more gloomy, a bit more serious and foreboding. And so our story focuses around a character named Fate Graphite, who has been cursed with the skill of gluttony, which gluttony is essentially he wants to consume everything. He has an endless hunger. And ultimately, he has a faithful encounter with a thief, and this ends up changing his life forever. The heroine in this, Roxy, is a very, how do I say this, endearing character. She's not written how most heroines are written in most anime. She actually has a bit of a personality, she has her own motives, she has her own character. Other than that, Fate was a very interesting character to meet and see his progression. I will say I very much enjoyed the plot of this first novel. As someone who doesn't necessarily read a lot of light novels, I can definitely say, in terms of just fiction in general, that the plot and the character development has at a good steady pace, where it is very satisfactory for a first volume. There's not too much backstory exposition. It's just enough to get a nice little, taste test of what the world building is going to be like and such. Now, translation, I'm not a translator, so honestly, based on what I can read so far, it is really good. The pacing, like I said, is not an issue. It is very well paced. The only issue I think I found was that there were some levels where it wasn't as dialogue heavy. It was more focused on the exposition. Now, that can be a bit of a turnoff with some people with respect to light novels, because according to some forums of the internet, that dialogue is a bit more appreciated in light novels. I always found that to be more so the case within manga rather than light novels. I appreciate the exposition part, but again, that's just me. Now, how would I grade these characters? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give them both about a 7, because a lot of times people can easily make characters seem either one-dimensional or just a one-trick pony. So Fate is a multifaceted character. You get to learn more about his backstory. I'm not going to share any spoilers here. I recommend that you read this. I mean, obviously there's actually going to be an anime adaptation coming out later this year, and I will very much look forward to watching that and kind of seeing what elements they take out of that. So, however, the Fate as a character is deep, not in a preteen kind of deep, like look at me, I'm so brooding and dark, but deep in the sense that he has certain motivations that you can understand or relate to. Lady Roxy, on the other hand, considering that her status as a lady, her motivations might be somewhat unrelatable, but overall, with respect to how it lines up with the hero of the story, it makes sense, and it can get relatable. Now, I absolutely love their relationship dynamic. I think it works very well. Whether or not they end up together as love interests, or if they're just going to end up just being platonic friends, which, to be fair, whenever a light novel or anything like that introduces a female character, it's highly unlikely that they're going to be just platonic friends. But again, I don't know. They introduced some other characters in here whom I'm not going to talk about in this review. I'll talk about in review number 2. But overall, Fate is an interesting character, and I think Roxy was a good kind of side character, kind of help show the different sides of the world. The world building is very good, very, very well written, in my opinion. Other than that, I didn't really have much qualms with anything. I will say one perk was the fact that there is not a lot of fan servicey drawings. Now, for a lot of people who buy light novels, that's something that they generally enjoy. However, for me personally, I'm not a big fan of the fan servicey kind of stuff, simply because I don't think fan service is necessary in order to hook a reader into a story. I generally feel that way about anime as well, and manga. I'm not a big fan service person. I understand why they have it, don't get me wrong, but me personally, it's just not one of my favorite things. The illustrations in here are phenomenal. It is illustrated by Fame. Again, I couldn't find much information on the artist in question. However, I thought the art was really good. And hopefully you will be picking this up at your local bookstore, on Amazon, or whatever it is you buy your books from. The price that I purchased this for was about $15 with tax, which is actually pretty decent. You probably get it for the same price on Amazon or so. So my final verdict on this first volume is I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. Really the only things I thought were a bit weird were some of the exposition was a bit much, and there were certain character breaks that happened, but overall I found it very satisfactory as someone who generally reads classics. And so I hope that you will be interested in picking up this volume. Not this specific volume, of course, this is my volume, but a copy of this book, and I hope that you will enjoy the journey as I did. So without further ado, I highly recommend that you read Berserk of Gluttony. I very much look forward to the anime adaptation that's going to come out this year. And, well, hopefully I will do a bit of a review on it, but, I'm still new to this whole YouTube thing. So if you enjoyed watching this video, there's always going to be more things similar to it. Of course, I'm going to improve as time goes on. If either this or this, one of the two, is going to have a button or a click for the latest video. So if you want to watch more and see more of this content, be sure to click that. If you'd like to, feel free to subscribe, like, comment. If you have any light novel recommendations, let me know down below. And what did you think? Have you guys read this light novel before? If you have, let me know what you think. Other than that, thank you and have a great day.